You're listening to With AI FM.
Marco, welcome to the show.
Hi, David. Thank you very much for having me.
We've, for those listening, this is about the fourth time Marco and I have tried to record this podcast, and for various reasons around scheduling and technical and everything else, we've finally managed, hopefully, to get something down and actually have a conversation. So thanks for your patience and your tenacity in sticking with it, so we can actually have a conversation.
Yes, thank you, and looking forward to start that podcast as well.
Yeah, well, thank you. And we were just talking about this before we started recording, and I think we now can have a great conversation because there's a fantastic example happening in real time in the world right now, where I think your software is going to be hugely important. But we'll get to that in just a second. So a little teaser for everybody. If you wait 5 or 10 minutes, we'll get to that. But can you, so basically for everybody out there, you've developed a software product that can analyze photos and videos and determine whether it's been made by AI. I think that's the elevator pitch. But what I'm really curious is how did you come up with the idea? Like, what was the thing that made you think, I've got to build this like right now?
Yeah, so the idea came out a couple of years ago when online circulated the picture of the Pope. At that time was Francisco, and the Pope had was dressing this very fancy jacket, and and a lot of people were just arguing about how fancy it was, and how much how it was expensive that kind of dress for the Pope, which is supposed to be in another way.
Yeah.
And that made me made me feel like it's not a problem for me. I mean, it's a cloth. I mean, it's cold outside. It was winter. If I remember, it was late winter 2 years ago or something like that. But people were starting polarizing themselves. And after a couple of hours, the Holy See said, this is not a real image, so please stop it. It's not real. It never happened. But people were polarized, and they continued to yelling against or each other, and there was a very, very big rumors and a lot of argument on that. And so I said I thought at that time that if the human being is not able to distinguish what is real or what is not, even if even if after a while there is somebody who says this is not true and this is not false, or this is true and this is false, it's not enough. We need to stop that at the beginning. So we need to guarantee that if somebody will publish something that it does not exist, that is not real, we can know that. Because you know what, when you see something, we are like San Tommaso, which is the saint that believed in something just if he was seeing something.
Yeah.
And if you see a picture, you start to feel something inside yourself. And if you feel something, it happens that you build your opinion. After feelings many different time, you build your opinions. So there's nothing worse in generative artificial intelligence and in building generative images or videos. But people need to know that what they are seeing is not real. I mean, has been generated. So, but not all the people think like that, and so there are many cases where people generates contents without saying that that content was generated by artificial intelligence, and so that is the point. I mean, from that case, from that specific case, I've been starting to think that we need the technology to detect that and to try to communicate to people, hey, this is a great picture, but never existed.
Yeah. And for the people who are listening, the people watching, I will have shown a picture of the picture in question, and it's the picture of the Pope in a white puffer jacket. But I think it was like a Balenciaga or like a super expensive, and it's actually a really funny picture if you know that it's fake and you're kind of like, yeah, okay. But I do remember as well when that came out. And yeah, it was, but instantly I kind of looked at that and went, okay, that's a fake picture. But again, like you said, a lot of people don't, kind of can't distinguish the difference between it. And I think this is becoming more and more relevant as we move forward. And I think on the show, I think even last year when we were looking at the election, the presidential election in the US, I said this is going to be the last election where we can trust anything that we see. Because, excuse me, because in the future, you're not going to be able to trust anything. It's, there's going to be some politician who's going to be at a rally and it's going to look like they said one thing and it's just completely fake. Or, people are going to make the audience look like it was different sizes. There was this Trump parade thing that happened, and I think we're already seeing some images are going, well, no one was there. There were like 1,000 people there, and then there's other images that look like there was 1 million people there. And it's like, you can't, I don't know which one's true. And unless you're physically there yourself and can look around and kind of see what it is, you almost can't believe anything anymore. And I think it is really dangerous. I think it's also, I think there's a lot of funny stuff that's coming out of it. Like, I don't know if you've seen the ones where they have like Bigfoot and it's Bigfoot talking and stuff like that. A lot of stuff on like Instagram and social media and TikTok and all that sort of stuff. But there's a whole account that's built around it. And it's obviously just a guy who's running around and talking about stuff. But he's like, he'll be like crouching down and it'll be like Bigfoot going, wow, that was a really close call. There's some humans just over there and they nearly saw me. And, stuff like that. And it's, you look at that and you go, that's super creative and it's really, really funny and it's quite entertaining. But that's obviously, fake. And it is, it's massive, and it's. Sorry, I've sort of gone off on a little train of thought there. I might just edit some of that out. Bringing it back.
Yes.
So I know that you have a background in kind of cybersecurity, and I know from when we've spoken before that you kind of see this as almost like a cybersecurity type of a problem. Can you talk to me a little bit about that?
Well, I think that it's a bigger problem like cybersecurity. Probably cybersecurity, it's a subset of it. As you said, there are use cases where people can use artificial intelligence for building interesting things and for building interesting and funny things to watch or to listen to. But on the other hand, since we build our opinion online today, and we build what we believe online and what we will vote probably online, and everything today is happening online, and it's much more than cybersecurity. It's like human right to me. So it's something that it's very fundamental for us. So let me just argument in more that. So we do have artificial intelligence on cars, for instance, and we do have cars that are can drive by themselves, and they works in most of the case, and we have a lot of regulation over that. But then, so there are a lot of regulation on how the self-driving assistant can do, where different kind of levels and who can use that levels and so on and so forth. And then we have that technology. It's a technology that interacts with ourselves, interacts with our minds, that can literally talk to us. So if you enable a technology to talk with us, they are not just helping us in doing something, but they can by talking with us, they can change the way we believe. And today there is no regulation on that. So there is a kind of free technology that is touching ourselves from inside. There are many people that make the artificial intelligence as a girlfriend. Other people that built over artificial intelligence the best friend. Other ancient parents that have died, and they want to talk with them again. So they bring them back using artificial intelligence. So there are a lot of different very scary ways to use that, which touches ourselves inside. So we really need something on one hand to regulate what is happening, but on the other hand to check and to see if what is happening is real or not real. So yes, cybersecurity, it's a topic because with these technologies you can build up a phishing attack or spread phishing attack very, very successfully, or you can even build pieces of code. So you will be able to write new malware families and you can use that technology even to iterate over vulnerabilities to check or to find out new vulnerability if you got the code. But it just a technical point of view. Actually, this is more an high level problem that we need to solve. We need to face actually, and fortunately, maybe somebody will solve that problem as well.
Yeah. No, you're right. How does it work? I mean, I assume you've got super special IP that you don't want to tell everybody how it works, but just in general, how does it work? How can it tell?
Yes, so we developed kind of artificial intelligence models that we call them degenerative models. So the other way around of the generative ones. Those models actually keeps as input image, videos, or voices, and elaborate a probability that those contents have been generated or not. So in other words, we are able to decompose the input in different tokens, and for us the tokens are bits or bytes for image, videos, and for sound as well. And we know the probabilities of each byte depending on the generators. So we know how generator number one would, what is the probability of tokens in generator number one, in number two, and so on and so forth. And we train the network to recognize them. And so, making a very long story very, very short, we developed an adversarial network, adversarial artificial intelligence network that is able to recognize content when has been generated or not with certain probabilities. And we offer that networks with in two different ways today. One is through a simple web interface, and the other one is through API, so that those models, those trained models, can be integrated in different products depending of different use cases or around the world.
Right. And through the trials and the clients that you're working with, what kind of stuff are you seeing? Like, have you found some really good examples that are a great case that people might recognize?
Sure. So, for instance, today the generative models are mostly used in banks and insurance. So the banks are for frauds like image morphing. So when you open up a new bank account, they need to verify that you are actually you. And so there are a couple of ways to do that. The first one is by asking you ID cards. And so there are people that can use artificial intelligence to modify ID cards or social security numbers. And the other way is to having a conversation like we do today with the cameras, and the people, the verifier that needs to verify the other people, is asking to the people to touch the nose or the hair and stuff like that. And there are kind of attack. I can show you one if you want right now.
Yeah, go for it.
That is called morphism. So it's very, very quick. I just click a button, and for people that can see us,
Yeah.
can see that I changing faces.
It's
I've changed
uncanny.
faces. So,
It's a bit creepy, but it's real. Like if
yeah,
somebody got on and didn't actually know what you looked like and
yeah,
you just started off that way, I
yeah.
bet
You
there's
can
a
start it
load of
off.
people would never know.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we with our models, by passing out these images from here, they are able to say, "Hey, on the other side of the camera, there is not a real guy. It's somebody who is changing his face." So back to
Right.
the reality. I'm sorry if I'm not
That's
good
good. I was
as
about to
before.
ask you to turn it off because it's really creepy. Like it's, I guess the best word is uncanny, probably,
Okay.
because it's
Okay.
not, it looks almost real,
All
but
right.
not really. Like, but maybe that's because I know. Like I said, if you had come on in the beginning and had it on, and I didn't, I'd never met you and didn't know what you looked
Absolutely.
like, I might not recognize that that was it. But because I know what you look like, it's just so creepy. I'm just like, that's just wrong. Turn it off.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm doing that with just a mobile laptop. So
Yeah.
having bigger PC on my desk, I would probably getting better and better the quality of the morphing. So that was just a simple example. Another case
Yeah.
is on insurance. So when two cars crashes, and they have some damages on their bodies. If the damage is below a certain kind of an amount of money, let's say 2,000 euro. So the insurance does not send observer or people to check the reality of the damage,
Right.
but they just trust to picture from mechanicals and body parts. So and that way, it's enough a mobile phone to change the damage size and to claim more money for that damage.
Yeah.
So again, this is pretty straightforward. So, but we have very strange and interesting example as well. So one is on soccer players, and
Okay.
somebody can say soccer players.
Yeah.
So I'm not a soccer player. I'm not a soccer enthusiast. So be patient with me if my terms are not
That's
the
all
good
right.
ones.
Yeah. Cool.
But there are a lot of people, a lot of soccer players that are playing in not in the first class, not in the first leagues, that they want to play for the first league. So because money, probably because it's a career path for them.
Mm.
And so there are many of them, and there are just few of them has been will be selected for the Premier League. So today there are procurements or parents or the soccer players by themselves that send videos of themselves that are playing by saying, "Hey, look at me, how good I am! Please select me."
Yeah.
And
Okay.
many of these videos, today have been modified from, with artificial intelligence. So, at
Wow.
the end of the day, the soccer team, they
Yeah.
will send real observers to see
Yeah.
the soccer player. And so eventually they figured out that the guy is not, super good as it was in the video. But they spend time and money to ship, observers to see the player, and in the same time probably the good ones are on another team. So it really, and since the soccer players are very expensive, so I mean
Yeah.
it's a job very well paid. So it's important to pick the right one
Yeah.
and not not the worst one.
That's nuts. I would have never thought about that.
Yeah, and I have many of them if you
I'm sure.
want.
I'm sure. I totally get it. And it I guess there's a subtext to this, right? That any technology, any new technology will immediately be used, to try and get some sort of an advantage by people. And it's people at the end of the day. And, it's the formal name, I guess it's the dual use problem, right? It's like a kitchen knife.
Yeah.
A kitchen knife is, it's handy. You cut your food with it, you use it in the house and whatever, but it can also be used to kill somebody. Right. And everything is that way. Guns are that way, right? It's like guns can, they are very helpful. They can be used to hunt with. They can be used for self-defense, but it's the people that use them that are the problem. It's not the inherent thing of the tool itself. And this is exactly what we're seeing play out with AI. The tool itself is not, and can be used for massively for good things, but you're always going to have those people who will say, oh, how can I use this to, to my personal advantage, and how can I use it to get me ahead?
Yeah.
It's just people,
Yeah. Here there is things. I truly agree with with you and what you said. However, I believe that people and company that are building those technology, they must put inside those technologies some frictions in order to be less used as evil and mostly used as good. So
but they don't. But you've lived in California before. We haven't gone into your background, but I know you've lived in California,
right?
And like the Silicon Valley area, and you know as well as I do, because I worked there for a long time, and I know loads of different companies and people there. They actually, the tech bros, is kind of the term, but the tech bros genuinely want to do good. They really do. They develop these tools and these technologies because they want to solve a problem. Yes, okay, they want to make money at the same time, but if you sit and talk to them, they absolutely 100% want to do well and mean well. And most of them are good people. And so they don't even have a concept that someone would use their tool, whatever it is. It doesn't matter what it is, right? It could be anything. They don't have, social media in the beginning. They literally, all they ever saw was, this is going to be amazing. It's going to let people, and genuinely, they just believed it.
Right.
They didn't think people are going to be cyberbullied. They're going to be, they're going to be called out. People are going to put porn up, like all of that never even entered their mind in the beginning. And I think there's no one there that's like the realist going, hello, I think you need to think about what you're doing here, because no one wants to slow down. They're like, no, we need to get this out immediately. Was that your experience when you were there? Because it certainly was mine when I worked there.
Yeah, absolutely. It was. I think it is for most of the people.
Yeah.
However, probably we need to, we need to change a little bit. We see a lot of technologies that are very disruptive and that could be used as a dual usage, as you said. But if from the beginning, when we think to the technology and we develop the technology, we start to put inside some friction for being used on only on one side and not on the other side. So, for instance, in Italy, times ago, during it was 90th, we had chocolate that is called Nutella. I think it's still today very, very, very known around the world.
Yep.
And at that time, Nutella owner shipped the bottle of Nutella with inside a knife, and that was a knife. Yeah, but that knife was developed in a very interesting way. So he had a round point, a round peak. So it was impossible to to use like offensive technology, and it was very light. So it was not able to, it was not strong.
A knife to spread the Nutella, you mean?
Right. Yeah.
Right. Got it. Okay. I thought you meant like somebody put one in a jar of Nutella. No. Okay. I see what you mean now. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And so that was that was a knife.
Yeah.
But it was developed and think to not to offend somebody, but just to spread Nutella on bread.
Shout out to Nutella. It's good. I like Nutella. So I mentioned earlier that I think because we weren't able to record earlier, it's given us an opportunity to talk about a situation that's developing at the minute in the world. And that's this whole situation between Israel and Iran. Now, we're not going to get into the politics of it because the politics don't matter for this conversation. But personally, I'm on social media all the time. I'm on TikTok, I'm on X, I'm on Twitter, whatever. I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Facebook, I'm on everything because I run my company accounts are all on that. So I have to be on those platforms. And I see videos and stuff all the time of people saying, oh, this is, I don't know, Iran has used hypersonic missiles. But I watched that video and I'm like, that doesn't seem real. It just doesn't feel real to me. And it hasn't been reported anywhere else except for on this one random, Twitter account. And so I start to go, is that actually real or is it not real? And and the feeling that I get now is almost like 90% of the videos, I just look at it and go, I don't think that's real. I have no idea. And this is exactly the problem that you're trying to help. And it would be, just having somebody out there to go, hey, our confidence in this is 85%. We think 85% this is probably a real video. Or we go, look, there's like a 15% chance that this is real, so you probably should ignore it. But that would be enormously helpful, right now, because I don't know. I have no idea what's real and what's not real.
It's true. We are observing videos, images, and even voices that have been modified during the past days, and there is not actually left side, right side, center side. Almost everybody today use that technology to change a little bit of information. So it's enough to change, a crowd on your shoulder or on your background, to change the perception of the people, and say, oh, how many people are there? So probably it was important. And or just deleting an object, or adding an object in the sky, for instance, could be very, very important for the perspective, for feeling the people. So yes, that is totally true. And plus, over than that, I'm worrying that we are flooding internet, the digital space, with a lot of that fake content, and sooner we will have more fake content than real content. And if you think about that, why you need to spend hours, or why you need to be interested on fake content? If you want fake content, you just go on GPT, on Midjourney, Stable Diffusion, or whatever, and generate it whenever you want in that time. So I think we are facing a very important, piece of history where everything could change. But I'm talking even of the economy. Let's assume the economy of social media. So why you need to go on social media network is everything is generated. If you want something generated, you just go. They will need to protect and to defend the reality, even for their business. Even for try to defending their job and what they actually do. So we are kind of floating really internet of stuff or content without real without the depth. I don't want to say without the flavor, since everything is not real anymore. So what you said is totally true, and we are trying to give a contribution for solve this problem. It's too big, this problem, to be solved from a single company. Probably there is the need to many companies working together and to solve this issue. But since that time, we are here and we try to do our best to contribute to decrease this problem.
Yeah, I think you've got a massive battle ahead of you, mate.
Yes. Yeah.
You're fighting an uphill
Yeah.
battle, that's for sure. And the other thing that just popped into my mind while you were saying that is, not only is it the sheer volume of it, but now the knock-on effect of that is that it's the added expense on top of everything else, right? Like just having real content would be costly enough for the platforms and the people. And,
Right.
some people, in the UK, we're quite good at having, unlimited bandwidth and, we're on Wi-Fi but I know a lot of people, my in-laws, for example, they don't have unlimited broadband on their broadband at home. So fake content, if they're on Facebook or
Right.
whatever, and there's loads of fake content that's being downloaded, there's this subtle effect, which is it's using up their bandwidth, it's costing them money and time and everything else, and memory on their systems, and it's clogging up their phones, and it's doing all this stuff in the background for stuff that's that's totally fake. And so that's a whole separate, I think, conversation. I don't think we have time to get into the economics of it, but there was a discussion about this in the past about online advertising. And, when people paid, when mobile companies, basically when you didn't have unlimited internet, then if you went to a news site and it was like 80% of the coverage of the site was ads, it's like that's 80% of your bandwidth is actually being used up by ads. That's nothing that you asked for and nothing that you wanted, and it's costing you money and using up your, up your data. And there is a whole side to that. It's just clogging up the whole system across the board, which is annoying. So I'm conscious of time. How can people help you?
Well, like to spread our voice like you are doing right now. Thanks a lot for that.
Yeah.
We have a LinkedIn account and the X account that could be used. Or if they want, there is even a free version of our technology, since we want to give that technology to everybody. It's a free version which does not use the premium and business super cool, hard and perfect, let's say, models.
That's fair.
So, but it's free. So it's if somebody want to use that, just go to our website identifai.net and click on try button, and he can enter that and use that.
Brilliant. And I'll put the links and everything in the show notes so people can just click on it and go straight there. Brilliant. Anything else you wanna add to the conversation before we go?
I want just to say thank you to you and to all our and your listener and watchers, and that's it. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you. Cheers, Marco.